Hello! Today I'll be talking about the three most important things that everyone should know about Confucianism. Confucianism isn't as mainstream as many of the other religions around the world, such as Hinduism, Christianity, and Islam. However, I think it can teach us a lot about life and how we can apply it to ourselves. So let's start with my first thing, what Confucianism actually is. For the most part, many people have probably at least heard the name of Confucius through various media outlets or word of mouth. However, many people are actually unaware of who Confucius was and what his teachings were. I think it is extremely important to at least have an overview of what Confucianism is all about in order to truly understand its place in modern history and its relevance today. And so let's begin with a very high level overview of what Confucianism is all about. So, Confucianism was actually founded by the Chinese philosopher Confucius in the 6th century BCE. Confucius was proudly known in China for giving moral advice to leaders of the country. He wrote deeply about individual morality and ethics and the proper use of political power by the rulers around the world. A lot of these ideas are also reflected in the Analects, which is a collection of sayings and actions of Confucius composed by his disciples. The very foundation of Confucianism is to drive the world towards a civil society. This first starts by the very idea that all human beings are good natured, which was proposed by Mencius, who was an important figure in the development of Confucianism. He argued that it is our duty as people to show humaneness and practice ritual propriety. A great example of this is when a person or a loved one dies. In most Western cultures, we try to hold a funeral as a way to commemorate the person's life and as a way to show our respect for them. And in many Asian cultures or Eastern cultures, we see the practice of ancestor veneration, which is their way of showing their respect for that person as well. And so here we can see a great example of how the two ritual propriety and humaneness actually connect together, in which ritual propriety is the action of doing humanist or humane tasks. In addition to that, Confucianism has also had its fair share of ups and downs throughout history. When the People's Republic of China was founded, they blamed everything that was wrong in China at Confucianism and destroyed all of the statues of Confucius and anything that was Confucian. It is not until recent times that Confucianism has actually grown in popularity and people's view of Confucius as a hero. The main driver for this is the shifted focus towards economic development and shifting away from the Marxist ideas. This leads me to the next most important thing: the ideas of Confucianism are still relevant today. While Confucianism is a religion, some of its ideas can still be applied to our daily lives today. Just because a person identifies as a Hindu or Christian, it does not mean that they cannot follow the ideologies that were proposed by Confucius, especially since some of them are universal. A great example of this is filial piety. It is the virtue of respect for one's parents and elders, and it is the most fundamental teachings of the religion. Many people today, especially in the Western world, tend to grow out their parents once they're adult and tend to be more disconnected with them afterwards and try to live an individualistic life. This is, of course, a generalization, meaning that not everyone follows this, but we can see a fair share of people in the West, especially, practicing this. And I think it's really important in today's world that we actually practice filial piety because, our parents have taken care of us, ever since we were born, and it is now our responsibility to help them out as they grow older and navigate the world. Confucius argued that the way to achieve a good society is through cultivation and of respectful individuals and teaching people the right way of acting. Respect for others is at the root of society, and without it, there can be no society. As a result, it is up to us as people to spread kindness around the world and treat people the way that we would want to be treated. And lastly, Confucianism is an unorthodox religion. Unlike many religions, Confucianism is an organized religion. There is no supreme deity, no creed, clergy, or places of worship comparable to synagogues and churches. I think this is an important fact to state, as this is something that is out of the norm for someone who has never heard of Confucianism. Their definition of religion may be defined by a relationship that they or other people may have with the supreme being or God, and thus the components of a non-theistic / philosophy-based religion can certainly help broaden their horizon and learn what other things that a religion can entail. This also brings up the debate of whether or not Confucianism is actually a religion due to its philosophical nature. I do believe that it is a religion due to some of its elements, such as ancestor veneration, where the ancestors are technically spirits, and so that is something that's empirical and something that we must believe in, and that gives it its religion tagline. So, in all, I believe that all the reasons I mentioned above to be the most important things everyone should know about Confucianism, especially since you have very little knowledge about it. So, it goes in a far way to actually introduce the concepts of Confucianism and get to know more about it. Thank you so much for your time.